Alright guys, welcome back to another Slice of Life episode of this podcast series on Fridays, and we're going to cover probably the last, and I'm really getting fed up with seeing all this, for lack of better words, garbage related to LinkedIn. So I just never want to cover LinkedIn ever fucking again over the next couple months. At least the next half year, I don't ever want to talk about LinkedIn again. It's so fucking annoying having to deal with employment, resume. Like, why do I have these many tabs open and they're just here? So we're gonna. Right now, I've never been this, I guess, motivated to hit so many different instances at the same time. So we're gonna talk about employment. We're talking about careers. We're talking about like job seeking and portfolio, and I don't want to talk about this stuff anymore, so this is gonna be the last episode, probably at least for the next trimester or quarter. So what we're gonna do is in the past couple episodes, and even further, maybe a dozen episodes ago, I browsed through a bunch of LinkedIn tabs and even some on Indeed, and I thought I got rid of a lot. But those were the ones that were all sourced into just like one or two instances, and I have 35 different instances of Microsoft Edge open over the crisis situation that I've been dealing with. So as a result, now I take a look last night after producing a variety of episodes, and I've highlighted and singled out all the LinkedIn tabs that are open across 35 instances of Microsoft Edge, each instance having anywhere between 50 to 100 to sometimes 400 tabs, and so overall it's like 2,500 tabs. And I can tell you that there are 6 out of 35 instances have tabs of LinkedIn. That's insane, and one of them has on Indeed as well. So that's 7 tabs worth of scattered LinkedIn web pages everywhere, for a variety of reasons, where it's like my experiences or colleagues or awards and accomplishments or something when I was like looking for a new job, or just updating my profile or whatever, or troubleshooting issues. It's just ridiculous. We're gonna blast through all of that all in one go in this single episode and finally get the fuck over this, because I'm just so pissed off that this stuff is hogging up so much space around my laptop, and I just don't want this to be here, because I want to focus on other things in this series and project. Without being further said or do, I could go through the introduction, but I think I'm not going to do that. Let's just dive right into it. What we have here, I know we're just diving right into it. All right, so first one up here on the very top left. This is a page of probably one of my colleagues at the workplace. I blotted out with the privacy graphics so that you can't see any names here, so you can't identify him. But basically down here, I'm just gonna read to you some experiences he's had. So his experience as a personal shopper. Another one here is a cooperative education student, so co-op student, and he's also a graduate from university. So perform tire changes, brake pad changes, oil changes, and perform shopping duties for customers based on their orders, ensuring accuracy and timeliness. Handles cashing out of orders, accurate processing payments. And the reason why I have this tab open is because I want to compare profiles. Right? I just want to see what other people do and what I'm doing, what are my areas of weakness. But even more, like straight to the point, what I really want to see was I just want to see what are the expertises, where do people come from when they decide to work at the major grocery retailer that I work for right now. It's clear to me that, of course, during the pandemic situation, a lot of people just didn't get the jobs that they wanted, and nowadays, this is a big thing in the 2010s. Everyone's got a university degree. Everyone is, master's level, even some of the PhD level, and people are entering the workforce with sometimes multiple degrees, and most people have at least a bachelor's, a 4-year university degree. So obviously it was a big thing, a big topic, that people just couldn't get the professional jobs that they were trained for. And so I was wondering, where do people come from? Their own discipline. What did they study for before they came to do like basic retail clerk duties because they couldn't find another job? And I got curious, right? And so I just went on LinkedIn, 2 or 3 of my colleagues here who I actually get along with. And well, there's a lot of people I get along with, but I mean, in terms of colleagues, but specifically, sorry, I'm still sick. But specifically, as I was saying, there were colleagues who really were just kind of like neutral and grounded and casual, didn't overreact or anything like that, who I just got along with because they were just kind of like calm and not like trigger happy. And so as a result, I kind of felt a lot of like personal health. I was able to just feel comfortable being around these people because they weren't, over dramatic or trigger happy or hypersensitive or super aggressive or hostile or I don't know, just a variety of like toxic behaviors at the time, like at the beginning of 2020, like 2021, 2, 3, just bad years recently. And so I want to know, of these people who have been providing me a good social support when I was at my workplace, right? These are people I can depend on, right? Like I said, so it's just nice. Where do they come from? What did they train? What did they study in? And so that's one thing. So with that being said, I can take a look and say I can get rid of this. There's no reason for me to have this open. There's only one tab here, I believe, on this instance, and we're going to almost instantly hop to another Microsoft Edge browser tab. All right, so we hopped into the second of 6 different instances. Okay, so the first one's down, and that had only one tab. That was on LinkedIn. It has a bunch of like 50 other tabs that are not LinkedIn, so we'll get to that eventually. So this is the second tab that has LinkedIn stuff still, and it's basically, I blotted out the top left again, just like in the previous tab, I didn't show any names. I used a privacy graphic and blotted out any names for confidentiality. Always super important to me, confidentiality. So over here, what we have now is my page. And this one was opened because it seems to me that what I was doing at the time was I was updating all the awards and accomplishments and honors that I had onto my profile. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but no, I've mentioned this, but it was like a couple months ago by the time this gets uploaded, maybe even half a year. So what happened is that my profile is, I was never really big on the social media thing. And I've always been, it's because like low income, impoverished kind of like family household. And so as a result, most of my life, I've always been behind in any sort of technology. If you go into my main channel, actually, you will see one of the things that I say on my introductory video, the Welcome RZ, is that I just didn't get a lot of time spent into, I guess, like digital entertainment, but that also applied to a lot of like educational, like digital educational resources. So I never really developed my professional profile online. Like I just like wrote up on Microsoft Word like some basic things that I did for work, but I never bothered to upload it, to update it comprehensively, despite me over the course of over like 2 decades building more and more volunteering and work-related experiences and meeting more people and seeing more communities. I never really updated it, so the presentation and the appearance and the perception is really poor because the portfolio doesn't demonstrate anything about what I have. It's almost like the resume of someone who had just, I don't know, like migrated here from like, I don't know, in the 80s and then never bothered to update it because they just got like a warehouse factory job for 25 years, which is a lot like many of like the boomers were like that. And I have nothing against that. A lot of my friends are older than boomers, even their silent generation. So I never bothered to update it. And I said eventually, once I find a time one day, I'm gonna do it. And the day came, and that was about a year ago. And so that's when I started. And I had so much stuff. It was a huge ordeal at the time for over, it was such a headache. I had to compile. I had so many. I had at least like 50 certificates, awards, honors. I had 20 different like work-related, volunteering, self-employment experiences. I had like just met so many people, and I didn't update anything on my profile. And so what I did is, I guess over the course of a couple months, I worked through it all, and that's what you see here. So I'm going to read to you a few things, and then I'm going to move on from this tab. Right, because long story short, that was one of the areas of weakness. I just didn't update my profile at all because I didn't need to. I was doing good. I was still working at so many different places, met so many different people, or joined so many different companies and organizations, volunteering, self-employment. It was fun, it was engaging. I liked, spending time with my colleagues, wherever they were, or bosses or managers or supervisors. It was interesting. I was learning new skills. I was seeing different jobs, different places in the city. And then, shit went like south after like in every single aspect went south. The moment people faced the pandemic, and the pandemic was like the last straw, the last nail in the coffin before it pushed everyone beyond the tipping point. And then suddenly everything that I did no longer mattered because everyone just became really hostile and awful and cruel. And everyone's cracks began to show, including mine. And in my particular case, I just didn't work on my perception or anything like that because I always considered the actual substance to be of value, which at the time, it was the most important. It was more important to actually be good than to look good. And to me, in my possession, and that was what was working with me. That's how I don't try to fake it. I just be good, and then that everything, all the benefits come from just being good. Just be a solid dude, and then the things come with you. So I never really had to work on my perception. As a result, my LinkedIn profile was shit. It was total shit. And I have no problem saying that, right? My own shit is like shit. So my portfolio was out of date, totally. And so let's read a few things here that I added. And there's like 15 of these. I'm not gonna go through all of it, right? So one of them here is as a nutritional consultant, premium pace setter, applied biomedical research and cellular nutrition. This is actually my work experience, sorry. Direct sales representative, interpersonal relationship building, long-term with team leaders, blah, sales and marketing. Another one down here. This is the health network in a certain district, information desk and emergency assistant at Grace Hospital. That's like, I'm not going to say which area it's in, but it's like a northeastern district, Scarborough Grace. Answer client care questions, provide wayfinding, call for visitor support, volunteer support, plan logistics. So this is a fundraising thing. I set up like a book sale with a bunch of my fellow colleagues and volunteers, and we had a lot of fun. It was a real blast because some of those book titles were hilarious, and I remember just like, and they were retirees, right? There's like retired nurses and the retired like teachers, and it's like 4 or 5 of us, and we just have a couple laughs here and there while we're like selling books, and we're just like catching up. It's kind of laid back because it's a volunteering thing, but it was fun. It's a lot of fun. And that was a fundraising thing. Further down here, picker packer logistics at a first aid company. Yeah, that one's kind of bittersweet. Like that, there was a lot of fun, but there's a lot of really, really bad shit from that. But there's a lot to learn from it too, in terms of like tactical skills and just managing people. Shrink tech, it felt like I was almost like babysitting 23 people at the same time at that point. Shrink tech, cellophane, machine operation. And it wasn't like I wanted to, because they tried to like, that's where the issue was. It was like a sizable proportion of them I talked about this before. There's like, out of the 23, I got along with everyone except for like maybe the 5. The 5 were the ones, as you can get, they were the 80-20 of cluster Bs, and oh my god, they just could not leave anyone alone. They got off like under power struggles. Half of them were team leaders, and they tried to like bully and push people around, and got kicks off of that. Anyways, so then eventually I like fought back. Anyways, moving on from that, another one down here. I'm not gonna show anymore. The point is, there's a bunch of experiences, and this is, and then certificates are here as well. So we have like, I think there's another tab for this. This is actually my home page. So if you give me a second, maybe I can pop onto that one. It might be on a different instance. But this is a second instance, and there's no reason for me to have this open either, because I know that for one of the instances that I'm going to keep, I already have my portfolio, so there's no reason why I need to refer to this anymore, especially since I'm not job seeking anyway. So turns out no, it's not. Turns out where we're going to go first, it's on the same instance, so I just want to get rid of it. It is related to like employment and careers, but it's not related to like LinkedIn. Well, it kind of is. This is employment resumes, but this is a folder on Microsoft Cloud Drive, OneDrive, and it's just a bunch of series of folders with all my outdated resumes. So resumes that I don't use anymore. I only keep like 2 of them active at any moment in time. Like 2, 1 PDF, 1 document, and 1 on Indeed. And it's like one's a comprehensive portfolio and one's like the actual like 2-page summary. That's it. So all of this folder can go. Like I don't need this at all. But I would take information from here, compile it, extract all the things I needed, and just dump it on my LinkedIn portfolio. And then the things I didn't need, of course, I just like left it to the side. But that was like over a year ago, so we don't need to talk about this. All right. Wait, hold on. All right, so while we're on the topic of like knocking off some things that are not directly related to LinkedIn, but still employment related, so we just covered like the OneDrive folder of outdated resumes. We have something here that's Indeed, and it's on Gmail. So Gmail and Indeed. So this is basically me switching up. I noticed there was a mistake, and this is something that when I was producing the episode for last week on employment and Indeed and LinkedIn stuff, all in one instance, I noticed that one of the issues with my Indeed resume at the time when I was recording was just yesterday, but uploaded like last week for this one, is it had my personal email. I didn't like that, and it was probably an oversight at the time, or something I just decided to like brush off and say, oh, you know, I won't do it now, but I'll do it later in the future when I have more time. And certainly have the time now, and it's like, well, that's a glaring issue, because, you know, let's sort it out now since we have the time, especially since it was a online searchable resume, and I don't want my like direct personal email on like a searchable resume. It should be like a separate email, you know, that's made specifically only for job resumes and like job applications, which I don't even do anymore anyways, but you know, because, you know, you just want to sift across any of the spam, and you don't want anyone having your personal email. So that's it. That's all that is. So I went to Indeed. I sifted through to the area where I need to change my Indeed resume, and in terms of the contact information, and I swapped one email for the other. It required 2-factor authentication, so I sent me an email and just verifying. So I went to Gmail to verify, and that's this email here on the top left, or here top right. So that's that, and it's good to get rid of this because Gmail takes a lot of space, again, like a lot of computer RAM. So get rid of that. And once again, here is the pop-up window browser web page that shows up after you click the link on the confirmation, right? You know, self-authentication, or reset your email, or reset your password. It says you click on this link to reset, and then just reset or confirm and verify. Now it's confirmed, so it reads here on Indeed. Email address already confirmed. You have confirmed this email address. Continue to just click continue. So that's it. All right. So finally back to LinkedIn. So let's get rid of this, because we got at least 4 or 5 tabs here all on LinkedIn, and this one is kind of insane. So, all right, it's worth mentioning here though that there's stuff here that I guess is kind of like I don't know. I haven't really talked about this before, so I guess it's kind of new. But on LinkedIn, of course, it does let you see who searched you up, and apparently there's people here who work for A, University Health Network, B, KPMG Australia, C, Loblaw Companies Limited, and C, Optical Prism, who have searched on my profile. So there's a general theme here. There's like retail, there's finance and accounting, there's like medicine and academic research, and there's like an optical clinic. So I don't know. I don't see much point in this because, like I said, I'm not looking for a job, but because I'm already working. But and I don't have other income streams, and I'm still working on that. I want to train. And anyways, there's more stuff. I'm doing this project, obviously. So there's that too. There's a lot going on, and I'm still like seeing people there's still people I need to see. So I'm booking appointments and like booking some basic reunions and stuff with people I haven't seen in a while. So there's a lot going on, and but this is interesting. If you can go and take a look at who generally. You need like a premium subscription to LinkedIn. I don't have that, but you can see specifically who looked you up if you have that. If you don't, you can only see the company, which is like me. I can only see from which company they worked at, but not who they are, which is fine. I don't need extra information. It's not like I don't like. Why would I need to know that? Don't need to know it. All right, unless you're like job seeking, I suppose that might be helpful for you, but for me, definitely not. So let's move on from this one. Oh, before we close this tab, by the way, it's kind of interesting because it lets you know where you appeared that made people click on you. So apparently it's like network recommendations and search for me. So 55% came from network recommendations and 45% came from search. And that's interesting. I don't know why people would search on my profile because like of all the reasons. It must not be my profile. They just like searched up a certain query and then just populated the list. I think that's what it was. But even so, it's interesting that my portfolio will even show up. It's good to know, but it's not particularly useful because I'm not looking for jobs yet. But it's good to know that it's performing well in terms of like online digital marketing. We have SEO, right? It's just like search engine optimization. And that was a big like the late 2010s thing was all like online digital marketing. So everyone knows about that kind of stuff now. So it means that my portfolio has good SEO, which is good. But that's what we've been trying to work on to make it look really official and actually have all our portfolios have true substance. So that's great. All right, moving on. Like I don't need to spend too much time on this tab, nor on this one as well. Turns out this is like a separate tab where I had like an extra. It looks like it's a certificate, right? So apparently I did a certificate. It's one of those certificates that I did from online course for my current retailer position. At a major grocery store, and it's it was like something on workplace culture. I don't think anyone really listens to it. I mean, but whatever. No, they definitely don't. But it's whatever. Like they went too far, anyways. The whole course was like kind of like propaganda-ish. It was kind of like the whole like super DEI inclusive like diversity thing. So it had the opposite intended effect of what it was trying to achieve, right? The more you spread propaganda and stuff like that, the more of a backlash you're gonna get, because if you do in excess, there's gonna be an excessive counter movement to it, which is dumb, which is I was always been like pretty vocal against that, being like, if you're going about this the wrong way, you're just trying to, at this point, you're gonna instigate the opposite opposing force, which is going to just destabilize everybody. And but anyways, I'm not gonna get on that. The point is that it was a silly course, to say the least, depending on the origins. Even though that the content was solid, I will say that the content was solid, right? What was to be spoken about, what was to be learned in the course was good, but the movement that it was associated with wasn't good. But anyways, that's a certificate. We can get rid of that. It's a PDF file that I saved over on my cloud drive. So it's one of the many certificates that I tossed into my, the honors, awards, accomplishments. All right, this is another tab on LinkedIn now. We're back to LinkedIn. It's one of those pages that I spoke about before. We've had several of these pages open where I just clicked on one of the notifications from my email address, because LinkedIn sends you notifications, right? And then I allow notifications to happen. So that's on me. And then it sends me these, whenever I get a message, which is good. And then click on it. And then I just want to go through briefly the general interaction without disclosing anything private. So I blocked out with privacy again. You can't see any names here, but long story short, it was someone here reaching out to me. There's someone reaching out to me for some kind of interview for an opportunity. Let me see if I'm blocking enough email. Hopefully I am. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when their team was impressed by your profile and believes your skills would be a great fit for us, we're seeking self-motivated individuals. Also work remotely. If you're interested, love to share more opportunity. Now, I wasn't interested too much, but I still wanted to hear about it and just get a general interaction. Unfortunately, I didn't have very many time slots available, and so through a little bit of back and forth, very briefly, we just decided that it wasn't a good fit because I just didn't have the time to do that, and I was going through a difficult situation at the time. And so at the end of the day, what I said was, let's just say read it with J. Hi Jay, like Jane Doe, John Smith, I don't know. Thanks for the reminder. Despite my absence, yes, I very much want to connect, especially about changes to remote work and this and blah, that company. But urgent matters came in between related to my healthcare and medical problems. My apologies for not informing you sooner. No excuses. Feel free to move onward. Wish you and your team the best of luck on your joint ventures. Cheers. And that's it. It was just that simple. And that's just basic professional correspondence. I'm not gonna go through, why that's important to not, it's just be professional. That's it. All right, moving on. All right, this one's fairly straightforward. I don't think I have to explain very much about this. This is basically a company that I worked for. At so-and-so, we're developing innovative products and solutions. Our focus is on, they use the word empowering again. Fuck. To live life well. Don't you ever get sick of that? Jeez. All right. So here's the news feed. All images, videos, articles, documents. And there's 240,000 followers. And apparently 213 of my school alumni work here, my fellow university graduates. But there's no connection. I graduated over 10 years ago now at this point, a full decade. Retail in the state by Brampton. Yeah, 10K, 10,000 plus employees at least. Obviously, it's a big major retailer. So that's just the main page here, and I want to follow it. That's basically what I want to do. Wherever I work, I tend to just follow the news, any sort of updates about. Just kind of makes sense, right? You want to be in touch with whatever's going on in your company. That's about it. Even if you're not totally invested, I'm certainly not, but invested enough to know what's going on. That's just kind of basic, I don't know, adulting, right? Just know what's going on. Pay attention to the news. That's it. Don't be clueless. All right. So this is actually a This is a it's the profile, all right, of the person who had messaged me. And again, no names mentioned. I blocked it out using a graphic. You can't see anything. Somebody here who basically wanted to see, who got in touch with me because he saw my profile, my portfolio, and thought it was good or a good fit for his team or whatever. And so I can only say that I want to know a little bit more about their work experience. And I found, of course, this is a sales representative, a direct sales representative. Usually I'm not very open to gigs like that. I'm always willing to have an interview though. And so it's just an opportunity to get to know someone else at a professional level, basic networking, but nothing further than that. Outside of that, I don't think I would have had any true strong desires to participate in this. It's one of those personal finance, distribution and sales. It's not MLM, but it might as well remind you of the same kind of compensation. You're basically self-employed, and I don't do that kind of stuff. Basically, I do it I may join just to get to know how it works, but it's not an industry that I'm particularly interested in. Although I have I've dabbled in it before as a way of getting to know more, but not seriously, right? I never really got seriously into it. And that's it, if I can read his profile, just basically here for you. But says expanding across blah blah in the US states on a mission to provide valuable financial education solutions in a way that's easy to understand. Our goal is to empower again, that fucking word, individuals and families with the knowledge and tools they need to achieve financial success and security. Yeah, no thank you, but you know, thanks for reaching out though. Okay, so what is this? So this turns out to be, this tab is a, oh, thank God I had the graphic up on. It's like a recommendations thing, telling me what I could look at based off of like my recommendations. So-and-so is now a connection. Apparently I added someone here from a while back. This is definitely an old instance. Right, it's because he's a startup entrepreneur, right? And that's related to my alma mater, which was a big startup university at the time, like big on the whole innovation, entrepreneurship kind of stuff. It's very good for co-op opportunities. A big contributor to the big tech scene in like the 2010s. So Y Combinator, that's it. That's actually what the program that was burgeoned from our university. Widely regarded as the most successful startup accelerator in the world. Right? And, well, that's why I added this person. And that's it. And again, they reached out to me first, but you know, that's it. Again, no names mentioned, but here, get rid of that. And next. All right. So it turns out I wasn't counting instances, but until I counted the third instance, 1, 2, 3. But this is probably the last one we'll cover today. And, well, that's it, right? We're done pretty much all the LinkedIn stuff. Thank fucking God. I want to get rid of it all. All right. So this is the fifth instance. The sixth one actually I'll keep open because that's the Indeed one, and that one is actually you know, I may have to change it. I made an update because there was some new things I had learned on the job, how to do price checks using an electronic handheld device and something else. And so I added those skill sets to my newest position experience. That's all it is. So it may be useful to have that open, and that's why I have that open. So we're not going to cover that. We're just going to cover the things I had to toss away. So this is the last thing. This is on LinkedIn, and this is the honors and awards that I alluded to earlier. Right, like I said, to update workplace experiences, you know, skill sets, people I've met, places I've volunteered, organizations affiliated with, and honors and awards. And so here's one of them. Now, this is not an award, it's not an honor, it's actually an admission test. So pull us back about 13 years, back to like 2012. At the time, I was testing for the optometry admissions test. That's just, you know, if you're going to be a clinical eye doctor, that's what that is. And as part of that, becoming, you know, an optometrist, what you have to do is, like, if you know you're going for medicine and you're going to become a family doctor, or you're going to try to pursue that position after your undergraduate degree, what you end up doing is you have to take a test called the MCAT, right? So that's the medical, you know, blah, blah, blah admissions test for our country anyways. We call it the MCAT. If you're in the States, or if you're in like Australia, or if you're in the UK or somewhere else, it's going to be something different. But we call it the MCAT. Well, for dentistry, they have their own. It's the DAT. And for optometrists, we have something own. We have the OAT. So at the time I was taking the OAT, I was taking the pharmacy admission test, the PCAT or whatever. And so I got some scores here, and you know, testing center, blah, date July 25th, 2012. That's actually the right date. Okay. So this is more than 13 years ago. It's a score report. It's unofficial. And you know, I just thought that because I did do really well on certain skill sets here and portions of sections of the exam, it's a 5-hour examination, by the way. You prepare for it usually by studying for at least 3 to 6 months in advance, a variety of fields related to like the natural sciences, as well as critical thinking and reading comprehension and mathematical deduction, stuff like that. So over here we have the first field is quantitative reasoning. Second is reading comprehension. Third is biology. Fourth is general chemistry, Gen Chem. Fifth is organic chemistry, Orgo. Fifth is physics, and then they have the total science and academic average. So then they do a comparison for you, so standard score and percentile. So 310, 370, 350, 400, 380, 340, and it goes all the way down. And the percentiles, right, 62, 96, 83, 100, 97, 84, and goes all the way down, 94, 96 for the totals. I'm not going to read to you what they mean, but long story short, percentiles basically mean like in comparison to, you know, everyone else, and the standard score is the absolute value. So, all right, with that being said, that's kind of everything. And thank fucking God, I wanted to get fuck all that LinkedIn shit. Like, this is Nicholas Light right there, you know, just 2 middle fingers up. Fuck all that LinkedIn shit. Not Linkin Park. Linkin Park rocks, but I didn't want to talk anymore about LinkedIn. Finally, 35 minutes, but it was worthwhile. Got rid of all that employment crap. I don't want to talk about that anymore. There's other things I need to talk about. So, and honestly, do you guys really want to hear more about employment? I don't think so, right? Like, what? I have so many of these episodes up here, and you guys already know what to do. Like, don't tell me that you guys don't have long-term careers already. I'm pretty sure most of you, some of you are retired, I bet. Yeah, I think some of you are retired, or maybe you're like, you know, you've done like 20, 30 years. You don't need this. This shit. This is just stuff that I had compiled that may or may not be useful for someone else or a younger generation or whatever, or for someone who's like recovering or whatever. You know, it's not for everyone. That being said, it's also partly for myself, right? It's just like a time capsule, like I said. So, and it's also therapeutic, right? Kind of just like being able to like bleh everything out that I had to work through over the past 2 years. That's been like 2, 3, 4 years. That's been major hectic. So that being said, I'm signing out. Peace. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, you know, have you ever done any one of these like medical exam scores? Why don't you like tell me how you did on those? Or was there a time where, you know, you had chosen a different career and then you did career switches, right, up your alleyway? It's always interesting hearing the stories that people want to do, you know, because nobody actually, well, I can't say nobody, but for a good substantial proportion of the population, you don't actually end up doing the thing that you studied for, right? That's just how life works. There's all sorts of like nooks and crannies and changes and desires and ambitions and goals and what's practical and financially viable. So yeah, career changes, but that's a career thing, and I don't want to talk anymore about like careers on that end. So that's it. Peace.